What's your background? I think Dr. Kanu is on board. All of us has children in the house, and we're controlling our environment as well.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, class.
Good evening, Doc.
Hope you had a
You're
beautiful
welcome
day.
on board.
Thank you.
Glory be to God Almighty.
Can we control the background noise? This is corporate finance we are doing. I usually like you unmuted so that I can be getting your feedback and be sure you're following. I don't like you muted. So what you do is you control your background, remove things that are distracting. If there's anybody talking from the background, kindly control it. If it is, you mute yourself. But in this course, I don't do the talking and you do the listening. We talk together because it's quantitative. So I rather you try as much as you can to control your background noise and then unmute yourself. Control your background noise and unmute yourself. All right. In our last class, I stopped. We were looking at appraisal techniques. I stopped at um, payback period method. I think that was the last thing we did. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Please correct me if I'm not right. Okay, so today we will round off with I'm going to ask admin to remove anybody that doesn't control his background noise. I'll ask the admin to remove the person. It's not me. I'll not mute you. I'll remove you. If the class is not important, don't join. If the class is important and you join, you control your background noise. You can't join us in the marketplace. Look for a place that is quiet.
Hello.
All right, I'm here. Can you see my screen? You can see my screen, right?
Yes. Also.
Yes, Doc.
All right. We stopped at payback period method. We did payback. Now I said a lot about the payback period method in our last meeting, and then we did also say that that the payback period method has some advantages and disadvantages, which we actually discussed in our last class. And I want to believe we exhaustively looked at the payback period method. So today we will be We'll be discussing the ARR, that's the accounting rate of return. The accounting rate of return is our subject of discussion for today. And we need to see the accounting rate of returns is the average annual profit over the average investment
Daddy. Daddy.
It seems Doc is not talking now. Hello, Doc.
I'm here. When people want me to talk, I'll talk. I can't be talking with all the background noise. That's why I'm writing.
Why you on strike, me?
Sorry.
I'm not on strike. Control the noise and we'll talk. If not, I'll write.
Please
Aja is here.
off your microphone. You have been a loudspeaker. Sir, please talk now.
Okay. Okay. From what I have on the board, I hope you can see my screen. You can see my screen,
Yes, sir.
right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
We finished with payback period in our last class. Is done. This one is done. Payback period is done from our last class. We've done everything we're supposed to do there. And I've given you the two scenarios that can be done under payback period. Then this is where I am. I am on accounting rate of returns. And then I said it is the average overall accounting profit of an investment. Note this, don't forget that it is the average what? Overall accounting profit of an investment. You know, it is giving us, the ARR is giving us, there are two models in the calculation of the ARR. The first one is called the average investment model. The average investment model. The average investment model, that's the first one. And then the second one is the total investment model. We have the total investment model. The first one is the average investment model, and the second one is the total investment model. Now, if you're using the average investment model, you are making the average accounting profit, you're denominating the average accounting profit, the average annual profit rather, by the average investment. And then if you're using the total investment model, you are denominating the average annual profit by the total what? Investment. In fact, model 1 has this formula I've just written here. Then if you're using model 2, this is the formula for model 1. And then the formula for model 2 is this. All we'll just do is we'll remove the denominator. We'll remove the denominator if we're using model 2. And then we will have, instead of having average investment, we'll now put total investment. Now, what is average investment? Average investment is opening value of investment, that is the initial outlay, plus salvage value divided by what? 2 gives us average investment. What is salvage value? Salvage value is the value of the asset after its useful life. When we've come to the end of the asset's useful life, what is the residual value? What's the scrap value? That's actually the salvage what? Value. So when you put the opening investment together with the salvage value and you divide by 2, that gives you what? That gives you the average investment. So which means ARR in the average investment method, ARR is average annual profit divided by what? Opening investment plus salvage value divided by 2. Are you still hearing what I'm saying?
Yes, Doc.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any questions thus far?
No, sir.
I'll expect those who can control their background noise to have their mics unmuted so that you can be telling me you're following if you are following. But if you feel you cannot control your background noise, mute yourself. Those who can control, unmute yourself. Now, the second method is when we have ARR as being equal to average annual profit divided by what? Total investment. Total investment is just the initial outlay. So when we hear total investment is same thing as the initial outlay. Total investment, please, I'll be using the word initial outlay, is the same thing as the initial outlay. The initial outlay is the money invested, the first money invested in the the money you have put into the investment as your total investment capital per se. That is your initial what outlay. Okay. Now having said that, we'll very quickly take some illustrations. And remember, there's something I said here. ARR is not based on cash flow. Unlike payback is based on what? Cash flow. ARR is not based on cash flow. ARR is based on what? Accounting profit. Now, do we have any accountants here? Anybody that has accounting bias, that's accounting bias? Any accounting person in this class?
Yes, Doc.
Okay, you are accounting bias. So when I say, please stay unmuted. There's something I'd like you to explain to us. When I say accounting profit, how is accounting profit different from cash flow?
Okay. Cash flow is actually looking at the how incomes are the streams of income.
Okay.
Accounting profit is looking at the end of the business period, the total profit or the total profit generated.
Okay. Do we have any other accounting person here? Is there any other person that is accounting biased? Any other person that is accounting biased? Okay, now I've already answered this question. I wonder why the person that spoke to me wasn't smart enough to see the answer on the screen. Now the answer is there. This is the answer. The answer is ARR is not based on cash flow, but on accounting profit, implying that it makes provision for what? Non-cash items. Non-cash items like what? Depreciation and provisions. Now, when you are calculating accounting profit, you would deduct depreciation. But let me ask you this simple: does depreciation involve the flow of cash? When you say you are making provision for depreciation, do you remove money and keep for depreciation?
No.
No, Doc. No, Doc.
What do you do? What is depreciation? Depreciation is just a provision that is made for the wear and tear of assets, that is made for fall in value of what? Assets. Now you calculate that and deduct it in your profit and loss account. It cannot appear in your cash book because it is not a cash item.
Yes.
It is an accounting manipulation. Also, when you make provision for something like bad debt, provision for discount allowed, provision for all those discounts and all, they don't involve cash flow. All you just do is you debit a certain account, credit a certain account in the name of provision, debit a certain account, credit a certain account in the name of depreciation. You don't remove money and put anywhere. So it is a non-cash what item. So this deduction is removed. This depreciation is removed before arriving at the profit that we use for ARR. But if you're doing payback, payback is not based on what? Accounting profit. Payback is based on what? On ordinary cash what? Flow. I don't know whether we are together. So in the light of that, note this as a very major difference between payback and note it as a very major difference between ARR and payback, because in the exam, somebody may give you cash flow and say this is cash flow, and then this is depreciation for this asset, and then ask you to calculate payback. If you're asked to calculate payback when there is depreciation, you are not going to remove depreciation from that cash flow. But if you're asked to calculate ARR when depreciation is there, you must deduct depreciation before you arrive at the average profit you will use for ARR. Don't forget what I'm telling you is very, very key. For example, if we have an example, let's just take an example. We'll take an example. Let's assume a certain businessman has the following classes of investment. We have A, B, C, and project D, and then their cash. Okay. Now here's the cash, the initial investment. The investment, maybe we put 20 million here, 30 million here, and there's 23 million here, and then there's 10 million here, and then let's see we'll see the cash flow, the cash flows. Let's assume we are looking at 3 years cash flow. This is year 1, 2, 3. Maybe let's make it, okay, let's leave it at 3. Then okay, for this project we have 2 million, 1 million, and then we have 0.5 million. Then for this project we have 3 million, 5 million, and then we have 6 million. And then for this project we have 3 million, 2 million, 2.5 million. Then for this project we have 6 million, 4 million, and then we have maybe 7 million. Okay, now value at the end of useful life. Value at the end of useful life. And we have 2 million. All right, then we have depreciation. %5 of initial outlay. Now let me take initial outlay to be IO. Then I also take this to be the other one. Let's say take this to be 10% of IO. This can be, let's take this to be 15% of IO. Or leave it. We calculate investment. Okay, let's calculate depreciation by ourselves. Now depreciation will be use straight line method. Okay, let me just remove this column. Let me entirely remove it. I'll tease your brain a little. Let's remove this. Depreciation is to follow the straight line method. Assuming a useful life of 4 years. Okay, assuming a useful life of 3 years, it's already reported. Assuming a useful life of 3 years. Okay. Then, with this information, calculate a arrow following the total investment model. Then B, calculate a arrow following the average investment model. Then C, rank the assets and select the two most viable investments without recourse to project relationship. Then C, rank the project and select the two most viable with the assumption that the first two will be mutually exclusive. Okay. Then E, rank the project and select the viable options, assuming that the organization has a hurdle rate of 20% ARR. Are you looking at the question?
Yeah,
Yes,
so
sir.
we're looking at
Do I still have your attention? I've tried as much as I can to dump into this question so
Yes,
many
sir.
scenarios,
Yes,
so
sir.
that if we're able to deal with this from start to finish, we can assume that I've told you all I need to tell you, all the record and all the comma that should be in ARR. I've tried to push them into this question. Now let's solve this problem. Now in solving this problem, I'd like us to still pick, let's still pick this our table. So let's just say solution. I place this table. And then firstly, I have projects A, B, C, and D. I like to add, let me remove this, should I? Okay. Okay, now let's just do some preliminary calculations. Preliminary calculations. Now, one of the things we need to find will be what? Depreciation. Now, if you are told to calculate depreciation following the straight line method, now there are two things that may happen here. You may be given a percentage of depreciation, and you may also be asked to calculate depreciation following straight line what method. Now, if you are calculating depreciation using the straight line method, depreciation is given as depreciation following the straight line method is equal to C minus S over N. C minus S over what? Over N. Now, C here is the cost of the asset, which in this circumstance will be the amount of investment. Then S is the salvage value, and N is the number of years. You heard me? Did you all hear me? C is what? Cost.
Yes, sir.
Then S is
Salvage
value.
value.
Salvage value. And then N is what? Number of
Number of years.
working years, or what you may call useful life. So if this is true, let's now calculate depreciation for each of these assets. Now it means depreciation will be like for A, 20 million plus 23 million divided by what? 20 million minus 3 million divided by what? Divided by 3. That would be depreciation. 20 million minus 3 million divided by what? Divided by 3, because the working life here is what? 3. So for project A, let me just press this quickly. For project A, depreciation will be what? 20 minus 3 over 3. And that will be what? Give me the figure. Then for project B, it will be
30 minus 4.
Sorry?
5.6 million.
Okay. For the first one is 5.6 million.
Yes, sir.
5.6 million. Okay. Then for the second one, it will be what?
30.
30
minus
minus what?
4.
Minus 4 divided by what?
3.
By 3.
By 3. And that gives us what?
8.6 million.
8.6 million. And then for projects, the last project, what would that be? Quickly. The next project, that's project
C.
that is A.
23 minus 5.
Just a minute. This is B.
23 minus 5.
And then this is C. 23 minus 5.
Yes.
23
Over 3.
5 over 3 million. And that will be what?
6 million.
6 million.
6 million. Then for project, I'm going to adjust the cash flow. I'm going to adjust the cash flow shortly. Then D will be, what
10
would
minus 2.
10
minus 2.
2
Over 3.
over 3. What would that be?
2.6.
2.6. All right. I want to adjust the cash flows because they are a bit on the small side. Now let's just add 1 in front. So this is 11. And let me make this 15. And let's just have 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. Let's have 1 here. So that I can account for the, because the depreciation is supposed to be deducted annually. So if we don't make this adjustment, we will not be able to account for the depreciation. Okay. All right. So this is what we have. Now let's quickly go back. Now we're going to reschedule this. We're not going to re-sketch this table. So let's pick this table now. And having found depreciation, I would rather we do well, let's find the accumulated depreciation. So for project A, aggregate cash flow, project A, let me remove aggregate cash flow, aggregate cash flow. Aggregate cash flow will be, let's add all this 23 million plus 23 million plus 15 million will give me what?
38 million.
Okay, so we have 38 million here. Then let's remove accumulated depreciation. Let's accumulated depreciation. You multiply that depreciation by 3.
That's 9 million.
The depreciation for project A is 5.6. 5.6 multiplied by 3. 5.6 multiplied by 3.
16.8.
Say that again.
16.8.
16.8.
16.8. Okay, so we are removing. That is, if we approximate to the nearest million. Is that what you want us to do?
No, the approximation before wasn't really right. It was 5.67.
5.67.
Yes.
Okay, let's take to the nearest million to enable us calculate easily. So let's take 17 approximate. So the other ones approximate to the nearest 1 million for me. So 17. So what would be the net flow? Net profit would be what?
38 minus 17.
21.
That'd be 21.
21 million.
21. Then average annual profit. Average annual profit. You just divide 25 by what? You will divide 25 by how? Yes.
Sir, how do you get this 25? It should be 21.
Okay, 21, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, that should be 21. Now, how many years are we looking at here?
3 years.
3 years. So the average annual profit will be what? 21
1
divided
by
what?
3.
Which will be what?
7 million.
7 million. So the average annual profit for project A is what? 7 million.
7 million.
Now, okay, let's leave it at that. Now, let's deal with okay. For B, what's the aggregate profit? Calculate everything here. Yes. For B, that's 13 million, 15 million. That's 28 plus 16 should be 44 million. Am I correct?
44 million.
So the
44 million, yes, sir.
aggregate flow will be 44 million. So what will be the accumulated depreciation? The yearly depreciation is for B is 8.6 million, right?
Yes, sir.
8.6 million multiplied by 3. 8.6 million multiplied by 3 should be
25.8. That's 26 million.
Okay, that's 26 million. Okay. Then we are removing that, remember?
Yes, sir.
Then if you are a non-accounting person, when you put a figure in bracket, it means deduction. Then net profit will be what? Will be what?
18 million.
18 million. So the average annual profit will be what? 6 million.
6 million.
Okay, then for project C, project C, total here will be 25 plus, that's 37.5 million, right?
It's 7.5. Yes, sir.
7.5 million. So the aggregate flow will be 37.5 million. 37.5 million. Then the accumulated depreciation will be 6 times 3. That will be
18 million.
Okay. So if we remove 18 million from here, that will give us what?
19.5. 19.5.
Divided by 3.
6.5.
6.5 million. Then we deal with project D. Can I continue?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then for the last project, we'll have 16 million, 30 million, and 47 million.
47 million.
As a total flow. So what do? We put 47 million here. And then less accumulated depreciation will be 2.6 times 3.
7.8. Let's say 8 million.
8 million. Then the net profit will be what? 39
The 8 million should be in brackets.
39 million.
39 million.
The 8 million should be in brackets.
Okay, thank you.
In brackets.
Okay, then we have 39 million divided by 3.
13 million. 13 million.
So we've been able to find the average annual profit for all of them, having also found the depreciation for all of them. Then our first question is calculate ARR following the total investment model. Now, if we are calculating ARR on the basis of the total investment model, we are not going to add anything. We're just going to say this 7 million divided by what? 20 million. So ARR first point. Let me just expand this table. All right, so we are looking for ARR, total investment model, TI model. So if we are looking at ARR TI model, remember the formula is, you remember the formula, which is AR over TI. If you go up a little, this is what we are doing here now. This is what we are following the total investment model. We found the average annual profit. We now want to get the ARR by dividing average annual profit by total investment. Okay, so going back to our table. So doing ARR following the total investment model for project A, it will be 7 million divided by 20 million.
20
7
million.
divided by 20. That would be what? 7 over 20 times 100. That's 35%.
Yes, sir.
Therefore, project B, following the total investment model, it will be 6 million divided by 30.
30.
That would be like
0.20%.
20%.
For project C, 6.5 over 23.
0.28.
28%.
That's 28%.
0.28
28.
or 28%. For project D, 13 over 10, 130%. That's 1.3.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now that is following the total investment model. Now we are going to remember this answers our first question. It answers question A. Is that okay?
Yes, Doc.
Then B, question B, we are finding A arrow following the what? Following the average investment model. Average investment model. Now, what is the average investment model? The average investment model means we are going to change our denominator. Our denominator will be opening investment plus salvage value divided by what? 2. And that will mean let me just do something here. That will mean for this one, the average annual profit is 7. Then the average investment will be 20. That's this into 20. What's the salvage value for this? Plus
3 million.
Plus 3.
Plus 3 million.
Slash 2. Oh yeah, let's work that out.
0.6.
Now this will be 23 divided by 2. 23 divided by 2 will give us something, whatever. That is
12.5.
11.5.
11. That's 7 over 11.5. What would that give us? Seven divided by 11.5. That give us 0.61.
Yes, sir.
0.61. That's approximately 61%.
61%.
Okay. Then for project
B.
For project B, just press this. For project B, our average annual profit is 6 million. Then the initial outlay is 30 million. Then the salvage value is what? The
4
salvage
million.
value for B is 4 million.
4 million.
And then work that out and give me. That's 34 by 2 will be 17.
17.
That is 6 divided by 17. That leaves us
0.35.
35% approximately. Okay, now we go to project C. Project C, the average annual profit is 6.5 million. And then the initial outlay is 23 million. And then the salvage value is 5 million.
5 million.
So that becomes 28 divided by 2 is 14.
14.
6.5 divided by 14. That's
46.
46%.
Yes, sir.
Then lastly, for projects D, initial outlay, sorry, average annual profit is 13 million. Then initial outlay is 10 million.
10 million.
Then salvage value is 2.6 million. 2.6 million. So 12.6 divided. Yes.
Doc, is it
That the salvage
2.6 or
value is
2
2
million?
million, not 2.6.
Sorry. Okay, 2 million. Thank you.
2 million.
It's 2 million, not 2.6. Thank you. That's why I said you should unmute your mic. Assuming you were all like dumb, covering your face with mask. Okay, that's 13. This divided by 6, right? That's 12 by 2 is 6. 13 over 6
Yes, sir.
gives us 2.16. That's 2.2.
16.
You can take 2.2.
2.2.
Yeah, 2.2, which is approximately 220%.
220%. 20%.
Okay. Now we've done it. I think it looks fine, right?
Yes.
Yes.
What you should give
Yes, sir.
attention more is our presentation. But for the way we presented this matter, you would have had a very long stretch. Because if we begin to do this one by, if you don't tabulate it, you cover a lot of space. But if you're able to tabulate this, maybe under exam condition, you tabulate this the way I've tabulated it. It will save you space, and then you're able to make a more concise and a neat presentation. All right, so having said that, we now go to the next area, which I usually think is important, because it's not just enough to function like a statistician. You are a manager of a sort. So somebody may even do this calculation and bring it to your table. What is important is making the critical decision, functioning at the strategic management level where decisions are made. And then options C, D, and E creates an opportunity for us to make those decisions. Now, the first question there is rank the assets and select the two most viable without recourse to project what relationship. Now, let's quickly rank these assets. Now, I like us to rank the assets now. Now we can go back to our table. Let's just include another column here. We don't want to go even further. Now the ranking, our C now. Ranking, the one that has the highest ARR is project what? D. So just call this the first. This what? The second. Then you followed by project C, which is the what? The third. And then what project? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Are you still following me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Rank the project and select the okay. We have not finished with C. He said we should select the two most viable, which means we select what? We select
B and A.
We select
B and A.
The what?
B and A.
And
A.
D and
A.
So D and A will be our selected what project. I've marked them good. All right. Hope you're seeing my screen.
Yes,
yes, sir.
Then D, rank the projects and select the two most viable with the assumption that the first two will be mutually what? Exclusive.
Yes, sir.
Now, what does that mean? It's still the same ranking, but where there will be a problem will be our selection. Now, let me create I need to create another column, another row rather. Is that a column or a row? It should be a row. Fine. Now, this will be our D. Now, if we are ranking, though A, D, and B are our two most viable, mutually what? Mutually exclusive. It means we will cancel what? We will cancel A.
A.
Now, then the position of A will be taken by what? Will be taken by C.
By C.
The position of A will be taken by what? C. That
C,
means A is dropped. So in option so good, but it is what? Dropped. Then it will now be replaced by what? By C.
C.
So our favored alternative will be what? D and what? C.
C.
Are we together?
Yes, Doc.
Then the last question will be rank the projects and select the viable options as and it is documented, is imprinted in their policy that for us to undertake any project, it must scale a hurdle of 20%. Any project whose ARR falls below 20%, it's an abomination or abominable for the organization to look at it. So we drop every project whose ARR is below what? 20%. So that is what hurdle rate means. So if the organization's hurdle rate, then that's E, hurdle rate of 20%. If we have is that all the projects are considered good. With a hurdle rate of 20%, we are marking every project good with a hurdle rate of what? 20%.
Sir, I'm not clear with D.
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 Okay. Can we go back? Let's go back. We said rank the project and select the two most viable with the assumption that the first two will be mutually what? Exclusive.
Exclusive.
Now, you understood C.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Aja, you followed the ranking. You followed how we said first, second, third, and fourth. You followed that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now in D, we are saying, assuming that projects, okay, the first and the second are D and what? A. That's the first two now in terms of ranking. The first two. Number one position and number two position. They are A, D, and A. Now, the assumption now is that D and A are mutually what? Exclusive.
Exclusive.
You were in the last class when I discussed mutually exclusive projects. And I did tell you that when two projects are mutually exclusive, it means the choice of one means the rejection of the other.
Of the other one.
When they are mutually dependent, it means the choice of one means you must carry the other one too, whether it is good or bad. That the first one has dragged in the second one. But when they are mutually exclusive, it means choosing one means rejecting the what? Order.
The
So
other
the
one.
assumption here is that D and what? And A
Yeah.
are mutually what? Exclusive.
Exclusive.
Now, if they are mutually exclusive, the question now is which one should go and which one should stay. Now,
Okay.
nobody will leave a project that has a 220% ARR because he's looking for the one that has a 61% ARR.
Hmm.
Nobody will sacrifice a loaf of bread because you're looking for a meat pie in the sky. You know, so you can't throw away the one that has 220% ARR because you want to meet the 61%. It is not. There's no economic wisdom. There's no financial wisdom in that. So invariably, our favored alternative would be 220%. So if this 220% project will come in, it means this one will go because it's not because of the making of AO. It's because it found itself in a relationship with another project that is more viable than it. So we have to sacrifice A in the interest of what? D, because they are mutually what? Exclusive. So that's why A is dropped. Now, when you drop A, you need to bring in the next most viable what? Project. And the next most viable is what? C, with an ARR of what? 46%. So that's why in option D, we selected D and what? C. Is it okay now?
Yes, sir.
Then I think in the last one, all the projects scaled the hurdle of what? 20%. All of them. Because all of them have ARR rather that's greater than what? 20%. 2220 is greater than 20, 46 is greater than 20, 35 is greater than 20, 61 is also greater than what? 20. So that's why in option C, all of them are selected. All of them crossed the hurdle rate. Questions? Now, I'll just very quickly look at the advantages of ARR. Everything I need to tell you about ARR, all the kore that is inside ARR, they have been addressed by this question we've answered.
Okay.
So I've brought in ARR with depreciation is there. I've also brought in ARR when the denominator follows the total investment model. I've brought in ARR when the denominator follows the average investment model. I've brought in ARR with different decision options, even with hurdle rates. So all of them have been addressed by this question. So no matter how we twist the question, you should be able to wriggle out of it.
I hope so, sir.
And this question looks fine for an exam. What do you think?
It's too much, sir.
To whom much is given, much will be taken.
This one, unless you are giving us only one question to answer.
It's fine, sir, but there should be a reduction. Instead of 3 years, you make it 1 year.
Come from?
Sir, don't give us 2 compulsory questions. So.
Yes, ma. What? Okay, I agree. I won't give you 2 compulsory questions. I'll give you all of them compulsory.
Sir, you want us to sleep in the class?
Please do.
Doc, I have a question.
Please ask the question.
Okay.
Line.
Hello, Doc.
Yes, I'm here. I can hear you.
In ranking of C to E, the ARR, that's the first, the ARR, the A or B of it. Which one do you look at in determining in the ranking? Take, for instance, the ARRTI model. If the percentage changes, are you getting what I'm saying, Doc?
I think you're asking a thoughtful question.
Yes. Yes, in
But
the
then,
ranking.
we were lucky to also escape that your question, because whether you use the TI model or the AI model, the answer
Thank you.
is just the same.
It's just the same. But that's why I'm asking, if the percentage changes, which one do you look at
I
in
am very
ranking?
certain the percentage will not change. The percentage
Okay.
will not change, except maybe that the scrap value changes. But then, if there is a change in the percentage, I would suggest you rank if they, because an examiner that's giving you any question would have maybe prepared a marking guide for the question. You would have seen the question before giving it out to you. That's the answer to the question. So if there's going to be a variation as a result of the application of the two models, he might ask you to rank
based on
using both models. As you
okay.
have the first ranking using the
Okay.
first model, and have the second ranking using the second model. That looks like the most that looks like the smartest thing to do.
Okay. Okay. The second question.
Please take note of his question. He asked a fine question.
Second question. The accumulated depreciation. You know, we did it for 3 years.
Yes.
If the question is for 1 year, automatically we are just
taking only 1 year's depreciation. Depreciation is supposed to be deducted annually. In fact, what we did is we did a shortcut somewhat, because what you're supposed to do is to go to the first year's depreciation, say money for first year minus first year's depreciation, you record it. But we just had to bring together the total cash flow, then accumulated the depreciation and removed. So, though whichever way you go, you still arrive at the same thing. But the bottom line is that note that depreciation is deducted per annum. It's an annualized figure. The depreciation is not a figure that will be there all through the asset's life. It's not once in a lifetime. It's annualized. The only thing that will be once in a lifetime is the scrap value, because you only determine the scrap value when the useful life must have been fully spent.
Exhausted. Okay. Okay.
Please, can you ask me more of your questions? Now, one major advantage which ARO has over payback. Remember, in payback, interest is given to early cash flows. But in ARR, you can notice that the whole cash flow all through the asset's lifetime is brought into consideration. I hope you noticed that.
Yes, no. Yes.
But in payback, we only consider cash flow coming in at the early life of the asset if you were in the class. So now, assuming you're asked a question, the one question involves payback on one hand, and then there's also ARR in the same question. Because like now, if I ask you to calculate ARR in this question, payback in this question, remember you will not factor in depreciation. Is that okay?
Yeah.
If I ask you to calculate payback in this question, for example, let's quickly do the payback of year 1. You will neither factor in depreciation nor factor in salvage value. You just look at the cash flow and the investment. For example, year 1, the payback for year 1 will be 20 minus 12, and then it will pay back in the second year. You will just have, what do you need to pay back in the second year? You need 8 million. That'd be 8 over 11. 8 over 11 times 12. 8 divided by 11 multiplied by 12. So it means it will pay back, that's approximately 9 months. It will pay back in 1 year and 9 months. Project A will pay back in 1 year and 9 months. Then project B will pay back in 2 years plus. Am I correct?
Yes.
Because at year 2 we have 28. Remove 28 from 32. 2 over 16. 2 divided by 16 multiplied by 12. It will pay back in 1.5. That's about 2 months. 2 years and 2 months. 2 years and 2 months. Then for project C, Project C will pay back in 1 year. Then we need 10. That's 10 over 12. 10 divided by 12 multiplied by 10 over 12 multiplied by 12. 10
That's 10
divided by
months.
12.
1 year, 10 months.
1 year, 10 months, precisely. To pay back in 1 year and 10 months. Then for Project D will pay back in less than 1 year.
Less than
In
1
fact,
year.
that's 10 divided by 16 multiplied by 12. So it will pay
8
back in
months.
what? 8 months. Project D will pay back in 8 months. I will, if it's very likely that you can have a question that will require you to do both ARR and payback.
In one question.
Yes, sir.
You don't bring in useful life, you don't bring in salvage value, you don't bring in depreciation. You are just interested in the cash flow. I don't know whether you're following me. But when you're doing ARR, you have to bring in all the flows from the beginning of the asset's life down to the end of the asset's worth. In fact, it brings the totality of the asset's life, the investment's life into TAS over payback. That's the advantage it has over what payback. Obviously, number one advantage is that ARR brings in all the cash flows in the investment life. It brings in all the cash flows in the investment life. That's one major advantage which it has over what? Over the payback period. Now, another thing it is simplicity and ease of application. Simplicity and ease of what application is another advantage, but then it has a disadvantage. It has some disadvantages. Are you the teacher or the student? The number one disadvantage is that ARR brings in accounting profits or follows accounting profits, which are not which may not reflect cash flow. When an accountant tells you that he has made a profit of a certain amount, that amount may not be in the cupboard waiting to be spent. It's just his accounting. His accounting. Cash. Okay, I got the spelling, but I failed the arrangement.
Yes.
Okay, so it follows accounting profit, which may not reflect what cash flow. So this depreciation thing, salvage value thing, and all that, they don't show cash flow. Somebody will ask you all these figures, where are they? It's like when there's a budget, when government announces a budget, they say they're going to spend so trillion naira. People will carry placards and enter the street. We have all this money, yet we are suffering. You don't know that budget is just a proposal. The money is not at central bank waiting to be spent, So now that there is COVID-19 and they are slashing everything, those who felt that there were trillions of naira everywhere and government did not bring it, and they are seeing the reality that these are mere projections. Sometimes accounting profit are mere manipulation of figures. When you talk of depreciation, where is the depreciation? Where is the money? Which money did you remove for depreciation and all that? So if it follows accounting profit, it may not really reflect cash flow. So it's not based on cash flow. It is based on accounting profit. Another major disadvantage is that there's confusion. There is disagreement on what represents the right formula. It's yet to be resolved. It's an unresolved issue. on what should represent the right approach. That's why some people will tell you it's average investment, some will tell you it's total what investment. So there's this unresolved controversy about what should represent the right approach to calculate ARR. Then the third disadvantage is that it ignores the time value of money. It ignores the time value. You see, all that we have been doing, we are looking at raw flow. We have not discounted, we have not compounded anywhere. So that means we did not factor in the fact that like you are looking at today, like certain million of naira that will come in 3 years' time. Who tells you that this certain million of naira that's coming in 3 years' time will be of the same value in 3 years? Something must have happened. Okay, it's very simple. Look at Nigeria, for example. Somebody made an investment projection, even in January. Look at what the dollar was in January before COVID-19. And look at what the value of the dollar is. Now, that tells you how unstable the value of money can be. And it amounts to not appraising your investment very well if you just look at the raw cash flow without considering the fact that the time value of money may change, the money may change in value over what time. So this approach is criticized by the fact that it ignores the time value of what money. Then also it shows less of the risk content of the investment. So because of this, it's not an appropriate indicator of what risk. We have only been interested in return. How about the risk? Where is the likelihood of this expected inflow not happening as expected? So it means it doesn't account for risk in the investment. A good appraisal technique should account for risk and return. But this one is more return conscious and less risk conscious. You know, the person is just calculating income without recourse to expenditure. You know, so these are some of the arguments against the ARR. But is this still being used? Of course, it's being used as a method of appraisal. Sometimes it can act as a screening method before more vigorous appraisal techniques are deployed. So in our next meeting, we'll be looking at the discounted cash flow technique. That's the discounted cash flow techniques, which we'll look at MPV, net present value. We'll look at IRR, internal rate of returns. We'll look at discounted payback. Then we'll look at PI, that's profitability index. So that's what we're going to start looking at by the next time we gather. Let me answer your questions.
Doc, please, can you help us go through the pages from the beginning so we can screen grab it?
Okay. I'm here now.
Okay.
When you're good, you let me move. I should move?
Yes, this second page, third page. Okay, move on. Move on.
That's the last page.
It's finished.
It's finished.
Okay. Thank you, Doc.
You're welcome. Any questions, please? You people are really, really repenting. I have more attendance than I've ever had before. You see, the fear of exam is the beginning of wisdom.
No, we are enjoying your class. That's why.
Hey. Haji, I'm clapping for myself.
It's true, sir. Really.
You know, well, let's not talk, Doc. Thank you very much, Doc, for the day.
It's true.
It's okay. All right. So thank you for enjoying the class. I also enjoy talking with yourself. For those of you who refuse to be Zoom compliant.
Quiet.
But it's okay. I wish you a very good night rest. Stay safe and stay blessed.
Thank you, sir. You too.
Thanks, sir.
All right, thank you. Good night.
Bye.
Hmm.